Gonna wait until some of y'all get in here. Yeah. Oh, we're okay. Hope everything's going on well, brother. Well, hey, I appreciate it. So I'm just gonna wait until I can see how many of y'all are in here. But tired. Been a long day. Anyways, just me. Well, welcome to the live stream. It's been a while since we've done this, and I know last year I said I was going to do more of these, and more of y'all are crawling into the live stream, so appreciate you taking your time out of your day, or the end of the day at least. Here's your chance to ask me any questions that you so please. I know the past couple weeks I've been absent because currently the laptop that I'm using broke. So I've been, unfortunately, I haven't been able to upload videos, but there will be a video up tomorrow. So that will be 6.5 stuff because I know most of y'all are here for the 6.5 stuff anyways. But yeah, here's your chance to ask me any question you so please, and try to answer them the best I can. And we're going to do more live streams here in the near future. But yeah, anyways, how are y'all doing? I know it's only February. We haven't yet gotten into the better months yet. It's been raining crazy outside, so I absolutely hate working in the rain. Just took a nap. Oh, I could have used one today. Presley has been just. All right, let's get into some of the questions here. I can help you. Went to college in systems network security. I appreciate it. Luckily, the laptop was still under warranty. It's a Lenovo Legion. It's a gaming laptop, but I don't game on it at all. I primarily needed it for 4K videos, so I appreciate it though. Hey man, have you ever heard of 6.5 having vacuum in the crankcase? Diesels don't make vacuum. So if you're having vacuum in the crankcase, that's a little concerning. Obviously, something is causing a suction. But no, I haven't run into that. Trying to think what might cause that. I ain't got a clue off the top of my head. It's too late for thinking. No, Lenovo's aren't horrible. That's what I thought too, and it hadn't made it. But maybe 7 months. I didn't think it was a bad deal. Definitely is able to use my editing software for the GoPro. So, hey, Dan, thank you. She's a little whirlwind for sure. So, for those of you who don't know, I had a baby. Her name is Presley June, and she is doing great. A little bit of a rocky start, but greatly appreciate y'all's feedback on learning that I had a kid. It's my first kid, so definitely new experience for sure. But what editing software do you use? Filmforth. It's free. I know some of y'all get irritated with the little tag down in the bottom right hand corner of the screen when you're watching my videos. It says Filmforth, but I can't remove it because it's free software. I know I could spend money to get better editing software, but I'm cheap. I use. Oh, I'll have to look into that. Free version. Okay, I'll look into that. Maybe it's a little better than what I'm using. Roll more coal. Prevent the turbo from spooling. If you deem it necessary that you just want to roll coal. If you have the stock set up on your truck, you can disconnect the little vacuum line from the vacuum solenoid to the wastegate. Just disconnect it and you'll roll all the coal you want, but you will build no power because your turbo isn't functioning the way that it should. Any tricks to putting a starter in a 6.5? God, 97 motors all back together in a head. Bad starter, replacing it tomorrow. Just be easy with the bolts. Use penetrating oil. Get the block nice and warm before you run it for a little while. I tend to find that the bolts come out a little easier, especially if they've been in there since the dawn of time and they've seized inside. But don't forget that mounting bracket on the front of the starter, and for the love of God, do not forget to put that little bracket back on the starter, or you will break starter bolts in the future, or potentially break the block, break the little ear off the block, and then you'll have a junk motor, unless you can find somebody that welds cast iron. If you have any questions, just Facebook message me, brother. Can do. Speaking of Facebook and Instagram questions, that's another thing I haven't been able to do just because I've been so busy. But definitely need to get back on the Instagram. I know I have about 20 people right now. 17 requests, and I have to get back to 15 of you. So been busy, and that's just on Instagram. I haven't used Instagram in forever, primarily because the smashed crew cab sitting out in the driveway was my number one thing to post, and now it's a pile of sheet metal. Bought a new support bracket for the starter. Tomorrow's gonna be it. First start for in 3 years. She's alive. And dude's feel nice. Gotta keep them alive, man. So, updates on the trucks in the driveway. Wife's truck's running great. Has a small oil leak, got to fix, and a lot of the smashed crew cab parts, such as the mirrors and stuff like that, will be going on the wife's dually. Whew. If I could ever wake up, that'd be great. A lot of like the mirrors and stuff will be going on the wife's dually. The exhaust is going on the wife's dually from the smashed crew cab, but not the 10-inch tip that I have for it. Is going to be going on the wife's dually. Got to paint a bunch of stuff for the other crew cab or the clean slate crew cab, and then paint those before I put them on the frame. And then the extended cab, 3/4 ton, needs a new timing chain, a new injection pump, harmonic balance, or not a harmonic balancer, a fluid dampener, and a billet pulley, and the head gasket still. So I'll get around to those here in the future after or just before the Honda sells. Currently doing front brake lines, bearings, calipers on old Red, the truck you met last year. We came down. Awesome. It's always fun. Double check the A-arm bushings too. I mean, you're right there. You might as well give them a look-see. But I picked a time too late to do this. But so tomorrow's video will be uploaded probably. I'm going to shoot for around noontime. It's just going to be more ripping and tearing the smash crew cab apart. And then probably the next video will be fixing the Wolverine to get it sold. So that won't be out of here. And then I apologize for those. I cannot stop yawning tonight. Maybe throw one of these in to wake me up. Rebuilt the front end 2 years ago. Awesome. Then never worked. Never mind. So here's your chance to ask me anything and everything you ever want to know, or I can answer to the best of my abilities. If not, then I'm going to answer some questions that some people have hit me up in the past. One of the questions I got recently on YouTube was, do I work on customer or subscriber trucks? The answer is yes, I most certainly do. I actually went down to Georgia there about last month and helped subscriber with his turned out to be PMD, but it was interesting because the old style relocation kits were to just take it off the injection pump and kind of flip it onto a heat sink that was bolted to the upper intake horn. And that's still a super hot area to have an electronic component, and it wind up melting the outside casing off of the PMD, and the PMD went bad. So His name was James Tate, and I greatly appreciate you having me down, looking at your truck. Super, super clean, two-wheel drive crew cab dually. So it's really cool. So yes, I do work on subscriber and customer vehicles. That's no problem. I mean, if you want me to work on your 6.5, then so be it. Just bring it to me, and then we'll set something up. Let me know if you end up coming across a good steering box. I believe I have one. The steering box on the Smash Crew cab, I believe, is still good. It wasn't leaking or nothing. So a bunch of parts will be for sale on the website as soon as we get it back up. So, have you ever done a water mist injection system on a 6.5? I personally have not. Just one, haven't had the money, and I've just always been satisfied with not necessarily the way stock trucks are set up, but it's never. I've never hooked it up or anything like that on a 6.5. I've seen it hooked up, but as far as improvements or anything like that, I just haven't dabbled with it any. So another question I got was if I work on customer trucks and stuff, would I ever be willing to swap out a 6.5 for a 6.6 Duramax? I swapped a 3/4 ton 454 for a 6.6 Duramax and a GMT 400, but haven't haven't ripped a 6.5 out to replace it with a higher horsepower diesel. So it's doable. I mean, it's not terribly difficult. They make kits to bolt it right up, but as you guys know, Duramaxes aren't my thing on this channel. Trying to keep 6.5s alive. Everybody can keep a newer truck around. Takes us special guys to keep 6.5s around. So, but anywho's, how's y'all's weekend going? Because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Absolutely hate the rain. But next weekend's supposed to be nice, so I should be able to get some more videos. I have a backlog of videos that I gotta upload because, well, of course, laptop's been down and projects don't stop. The only time I stop is the rain. But let's see if I can scroll through. Ooh, here we go. Seeing the kids tomorrow. Of course, it's coming up. I hear you there, man. It's get out of here. It's definitely something I haven't dealt with, and I hope to never have to. But I feel for you. I saw a couple of y'all's comments on the post for the live stream tonight. I'm first and I'm second. Thanks, fellas. I'm just looking up a couple questions that some people have asked. So, baby number 4 on the way. Well, congratulations, Andy and I hope to have a big family, but gotta at least get one crew cab done. Yeah, I actually went and looked at a Suburban, but as much as I want a Suburban on the channel, this thing was a pile. Just it had been parked for 4 years, and the mice had gotten into everything and eaten all the fuel lines, all the fuel return lines, and lines up to the injection pump. And then the harmonic balancer, or the pulley in front, was missing all of the rubber. And Lord knows how long that has been like that, or how long they had run it before they parked it like that. The interior was disgusting, and that's another thing I never understood. If you're trying to sell something for the absolute most money that you can get, why would you not take the time to at least wash the damn thing or clean up the interior? I understand some people just want to get rid of it, they don't care. But if you're looking to get the most money out of something, why are you keeping it dirty? Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. But the thing that, like, the price, I could have talked him down, but the thing that I absolutely hate dealing with is titles. If you do not have a title in hand that I can sign and claim it's mine, I'm not gonna buy it. I don't, unless I'm buying it for a parts truck. And that was the biggest thing with this Suburban was he lost the title, and I I don't deal with that. I bought a Duramax down in Texas when I lived there, and I that was such a headache. I don't deal with not having a title anymore if I'm not buying it for parts. What's going on, brother? Not much. Just answering y'all's questions to the best of my abilities. Glad you made it by the live stream. So if you got any questions about anything, personal or truck related, ATV related, um, just ask away. Charlie Bound, yeah. Man, don't worry about asking too much. So I I genuinely feel bad that I get so busy and I don't have a chance to respond to y'all. Maybe not the fastest that I possibly could. And it makes you feel terrible because I know y'all come to me for any amount of idea that I might have, which is why I want to do more of these live streams in the future. I said last year that I was going to do more from this year. And that way y'all can ask me questions live and I can answer them. I'm setting aside time out of my schedule to do this. So if you have any questions, ask away. Otherwise, because like as I said earlier, it takes me a while to get back to some of y'all, and the reason why I do the whole like voice recordings and send in some of my responses is because it's faster, and I don't have to type it out. So. So if you guys got any questions, ask away. There was a question a while back that I'll bring up before I answer those two that or three that just popped up. Somebody asked me about if they could donate money or send me money for help or whatever. One subscriber specifically, I remember. I'm not going to say his name because it doesn't matter. Well, y'all matter, but it doesn't matter in this context. I helped him get his truck fixed over the phone, and he asked if he could send me money. I don't ever ask y'all send me any amount of money at all. Just helping y'all out is good enough for me. And then y'all watching the videos and me getting the ad revenue is awesome. I greatly appreciate you watching the videos. But if y'all feel compelled enough to do so, in the description of every video, there's a link to my PayPal. Do as you wish with it. I don't ever accept any money out of anybody unless I work on your truck. Then I'm hourly rate, and because my time is worth something, and if I have to work on your vehicle versus work on my vehicle, spend time with family, that's valuable time that I'm not going to get back. So that correlation makes sense. Yes, I am transferring the lift kit from the Smash Crew Cab over to the Clean Slate Crew Cab, and there will be a full in-depth video on how to install a 6-inch rough country lift on a 6.5 turbo diesel frame. Full in-depth video, new bushings, different parts will be painted. So I want to do that because y'all can visually see each individual component and the way that they go together, and it will make complete sense. So that lift kit will be going on the crew cab, and then the wife's dually will be getting a lift as well, and I will document all of that for y'all. My 6.5 is down. Changed the fuel filter, the PMD, the lift pump. The last thing left is the fuel pump. After that, I don't know. Will turn over but not start. Okay, so the only thing left being the injection pump, or have you changed the sending unit in the tank? Sometimes they get clogged up. Make sure you're getting consistent flow up to the injection pump before you roll the entire fuel system out. After that, it's not uncommon that the injection pumps go bad. No problem, man. I see, and this is primarily why I started the YouTube channel, was to help other 6.5 owners figure out what it took me a long fucking time to figure out. And asking anybody for any amount of assistance is like pulling teeth nowadays. Nobody wants to give away their secrets, and it takes a lot of reading and a lot of sifting through a bunch of bull crap on the internet to kind of get the answers you need. It sucks. And if I can help you all out the best that I can, and granted, I am no expert on the 6.5s. I have no degree in 6.5s. I've just dealt with enough of them that I know quite a bit about what I'm talking about. So I appreciate y'all coming and watching the videos and commenting and just being here. So appreciate it, and thank you. How did you get the front end of a C3500 up a few inches? So they do make lift kits for two-wheel drive applications. It's basically like a little spacer block. So for those of you who don't know, the four-wheel drive applications use a torsion bar, and then the two-wheel drive use a coil spring. They make a little spacer block that goes between the spring bucket on top and the coil spring itself. It would sit right in the middle of that, and it would raise or drop the suspension, and it would raise the truck up essentially. I've seen them, but not super common because you don't find a lot of people looking to lift a two-wheel drive. What's up, Jess Pelkey in chat? Oh, and that's another thing. Some of my subscribers have asked how to pronounce my last name. It is Pelkey. It's French. I didn't think it was super hard to spell, but I have throughout my life I've heard Pilkey, I've heard Peckley. It's Pelkey. Are you running stock rocker arms? For the time being, in all my 6.5s, yes. And I've seen personally rocker arms come apart. Those little plastic screws that kind of keep the rocker in line, like to back out. So when I go back with the clean slate crew cab, I'll be upgrading the rocker arms. Your opinion on a wicked wheel for a 6.5 depends on what you're attempting to do with said 6.5. So if you're just looking for a little more turbo whistle, not a whole lot of extra horsepower or anything like that, wicked wheel's fine. If you're actually looking to get some performance out of it, just get a different turbo. That's just my opinion. Wicked wheel's the affordable option. And granted, nobody nowadays has the money to go out and splurge on a brand new turbo, myself included. So I get it. But that's just my 2 cents. I just changed the injection pump last year. April, I was a brand new DS4. Is it still under warranty? And who'd you buy it through? Because or the timing could be off. Something could have happened. Piece of debris getting the injection pump, something like that, could have destroyed it. But because those DS4s are so sensitive, or it could be the communication harness too. There's a company out there that sells an injection pump harness. It's eons better than the stock one. So. 6.5 section of diesel place form is a great resource. It is. I agree. There's just a little bit of sifting you got to do to weed out some of the BS, like I said earlier. Some of the guys on there are really knowledgeable, and that's where I learned a bunch of stuff on the diesel place forum. Some of the guys, you kind of got to weed some stuff out. The lift pump fuse, I've got pressure. Okay. But I don't know. So you've got fuel going up to the injection pump, and then it kind of stops there. Something communication isn't allowing the lift pump to operate, or injection pump to operate properly. How did you rip up your OPS remote? Have you seen article about the kind make? Oh, have I seen the 900 foot-pound read engine builder magazine? I read a little bit of that. I did not complete the reading of it, but it is nice to see that some guys out there are really hopping these things up for daily use. Um, Probably not the best daily driver, but it's impressive. I mean, I don't plan on ever building one of my trucks to do that because I like to use my trucks and daily them. So 900 horsepower or foot pounds. Yeah, it is worth a read. I just need to sit down and read it. Exactly. Um, uh, Especially on Facebook, from what I've noticed, um, I can think of a couple 6.5 Facebook pages that are not all about 6.5s, which is kind of stupid, in my opinion. I know one of the admins of one of the pressure switch from 100. Yes, I did. I'll get to that in just a sec. So, one thing I find very irritating is if you have a specific page, say 6.5s and 6.2s. Okay, if you have an admin on that page that's telling people just rip it out and come and swap it, or go sell it and buy a real diesel, why? I've never understood that. But it is what it is, and if they allow it, then so be it. It's not my page. Looks like you moved. Looks like you moved your old pressure switch from under the intake. Yes, I did. The old pressure switches are known for failing on these 6.5s. Andy has come to interrupt. But yes, I did remove or relocate the old pressure switch. Basically, I work at a diesel shop and I'm able to make hydraulic lines. And I made a hydraulic line that removes it off the engine block and relocates it up onto basically the firewall. It's not terribly difficult to do. Um, and then you just got to unplug the harness and or you got to move it to where you're going to put the old pressure switch. It's nothing terribly difficult. And the old pressure switches are known for going bad. There's just an electronic component I wanted to get away from the engine. You can bypass them if you so choose. Did you have any performance upgrades on your Smash truck, tune or mostly stock? So I've gone over this in a video, but I'm glad you asked because that baby was not stock. So performance upgrades, starting off with the fueling system, had a fast 165 lift pump, primarily just peace of mind, but it was keeping the injection pump nice and fueled. At the injection pump, had an optical bump. I don't recommend the optical bump, but if you so choose to, so be it. I had the Feed the Beast mod, marine injectors. I had the head shaved, 6,000s, and used a little bit thinner head gasket to up the compression a little bit. Not astronomical or anything like that, but and whether it made any amount of difference, I'm sure if you put it on a dyno, you can see a little bit of a change, but it's just up in the compression a little bit. It's nothing super serious. I had the wastegate, manual wastegate. I was pushing 22 psi of boost. Number 9 resistor to give it more fuel. What else? 3-inch down pipe and a 4-inch straight pipe to let it breathe a little better. But other than that, the rest of it was pretty stock. I do hope to do more, but I almost forgot a tuned ECU from Quadstar. Had that done way back when I first bought the truck, but I almost forgot about that one. So thank you for the reminder. Other than that, pretty stock. Yeah. Last question. Got to get the kids to bed. We just laid Presley down. Copenhagen or Skull? So tonight is a Copenhagen mint. I'm a big mint fan. I know a lot of guys hate mint, and I don't usually ever talk about dip at all. But tonight's a Copenhagen night. Nothing against Skull by any means. I used to be a super big fan of Skull Extra Mint when they came out, and the Extra Wintergreen when they came out. I tried the Spearmint, stuff like that. I've tried a lot of dip flavors, if you will. But tonight's Copenhagen night. Nobody's ever asked me about chew tobacco, so
I'll be ready for them.
you can do it. I love you.
I love you. Have a good night, y'all.
But what turbo would I recommend with my old setup? Super 54, or if I could find a cheap HX40, I would do that. But future plans, thinking 2 turbo. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That truck is a long way to go. The frame is now off the trailer, and I've got to swap all the suspension components over to the frame before I can even think about putting the motor in place. But I'm thinking I want to try a compound setup, building my own compound setup. Whether or not it's going to work, but it's worth a try. But yeah, for my old setup, I would definitely like. I would have liked a 54. Are you planning on any type of intercooler setup? Yes. So the way that I want, I'll give you guys a sneak peek of what I'm thinking for the clean slate crew cab. Compound turbo setup and using a Duramax intercooler. There's going to be quite a bit of cutting involved. Thinking first gen LB7 Duramax intercooler right in front of the radiator. I know you can get those build kits or the Amazon or eBay kits to install an intercooler, but I am not afraid of cutting torches and grinding wheels, so I would like to do first gen Duramax intercooler and then a different intake horn style. There used to be an old intake that bolts to the top of the intake manifold that would enter from the driver's side and then go down. I want to try and find one of those. They're really old and hard to find, but yeah, I do plan on running an intercooler. Are you planning on technicals water to air? So I prefer with that I prefer an air to air system over a water to air system. It's just easier to maintain. I like simplicity. What do you think about oil additives to clean out soot and stuff? So I would say every other oil change, I like to use Lucas. As far as like detergents to clean out all the old stuff, as long as you're doing your regularly scheduled maintenance at intervals that um, allow the oil to stay, the lubricity of the oil to stay up there and not get like too terribly dirty. Like I do my oil changes every 3,000 miles. I know that's a little excessive for some people. In today's day and age, it's really pricey, but I've never really had a problem. Now, I've seen people go 5,000, 7,000 miles, excuse me, on an oil change. And you can look back at some of my old footage of like the wife's dually, all that sludge built up because it's old oil, soot just gets blobby and caked up on shit. If you're doing your regularly scheduled maintenance, you don't really run into that issue. And of course, there are companies out there that sell like oil centrifuges and stuff like that. I've never felt the need to use anything like that, but I also spend a lot more on oil changes throughout the year. So just my 2 cents. And every once in a while, I'll run a bottle of Lucas just to make sure the lubricity stays up. They still sell those intake hats on Unique Diesel. Good to know. Definitely good to know. Thank you. I'll have to buy one before they stop making them. What is the loudest turbo for a 6.5? I don't know. The Super 54s are pretty loud. The Super 60s are pretty loud. I came across Super 60 that sounded a lot like an LLY Duramax. So They get pretty noisy. HX 40s, they're all right as far as sound goes. They're not the loudest, but just what I've come across. It all depends on your exhaust too. Like if you have a real restrictive exhaust, but you have a big turbo, kind of drowns out the noise. Thinking either the vans or the motorhomes came with that intake piece. You may be right. I the majority of vans that I run into have angled heads instead of straight heads, and they utilize center mount turbo, which have intake different intake runners instead of an intake manifold. But it's good to know. Not to my knowledge, CJ. That would just be more reading, I guess, on my part to find out. But howdy, Jesse. Howdy. How's it going, man? Can I put a 95 injection pump on a 93? 93 has a DB2 injection pump. 95 has a DS4. Unless you like dealing with electronics, I mean, you can if you want to go through the hassle of doing so. So that you're gonna have to swap the ECU, the engine harness, swap everything over for it to read correctly, and then you have to do the throttle that's fly by wire and reads resistance versus the throttle cable that came on the DB2 injection pump. You can, just depends on how much time you want to put into it. Anything's possible. Just is it worth your time is the big thing. If I was to put a manual pump on a 96, because I still run a stock trans, I know overdrive would be weird. Overdrive would be weird, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. Anything's possible with enough time and money. Isn't that the truth? And one of those, one or both of those is what I'm missing right now. So, medical bills with the baby and complications with that definitely racked up the bills. So, as I said, the crew cab may not get done this year because of that reason financially. But yeah. I'm putting a 93 and a 95. Would that be easier? Yes. So from the 93, I would just use the engine block, the engine heads, and swap over the electronic injection pump over onto. You're going to have to replace some of the timing components in the front for the crankshaft position sensor, but yes, that would be easier. I appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you. We'll get through, man. We have up until this point, and we're going to continue trucking. I know I've had a few questions about this. So, with my daughter, she's happy and healthy. But when she was born, there were complications. She wound up inhaling some colostrum, and she wasn't breathing at first, which threw us into a humongous scare. And then Andy had her gallbladder was about to fucking explode, so we had to get that removed. And then we had a really bad colic deal with Presley. And anybody who's dealt with a baby with colic, I feel for you. Andy, every day. So I work, and Andy's a stay-at-home mom. So she was dealing with the absolute brunt of it, and she's awesome. She's just the greatest. But those are some of the things we were dealing with. Other than that, she's happy and healthy, man. I appreciate it. That'd be cool. I hope to event. So I saw a Cuck V on Facebook Marketplace, and if it wasn't $8,000, I would have bought it. It was a 6'2", naturally aspirated. The guy had painted it all white. I still had the 37 military tires on it, 37-inch military tires on it. It was beautiful. I wanted it so bad, but I do not have $8,000. It would have been an awesome addition to the channel. I know I haven't covered hardly any 6'2" stuff, but I really want to get into that at some point. And someday I will own a 6'2", but oh, it was so pretty. But I have a fair amount of blow by. Okay. So Larry commented, for those who aren't in the comments. My 96 runs perfect, but I have a fair amount of blow by. I change the oil every 2,500 miles. Not losing any water or anything drives me nuts. So, not using any water, your head gaskets are fine. It's probably consuming a little bit of oil, I would imagine. I would ask where your oil pressure is at, just to verify that the crank bearings and the cam bearings are all good and stuff like that. But if your oil pressure is fine and you have blow by, unfortunately, you either have bad rings on your pistons, or your block is damaged a little bit, or you have a cracked piston, depending on how bad that blow by is. But more than likely bad rings, I would imagine. Gets better. I promise. Our daughter used to have random choking problem. She would stop breathing and everything. I hear you there, and it is going to get better. I just keep telling myself that, and thank you, Tyler, for sharing that. It's going to get better. It's gotten a lot better, in all honesty. She's doing great. She's got some sass to her. Oh my goodness, she's got her mom's sass and my attitude. Yeah, a way better conditioned body, less rust and lower miles than square body frame, and motor and trans. Go with the better option. I mean, save the one that's worth saving. Grew up in Maine, and it was astonishing just how fast vehicles would rust out, man. I moved down here to the south. We don't have that issue. Just surface rust. Has 410 gear ratio. Do you know anybody successful with doing a 6L90 gear? Your way to go. I would like to be able to tow. So I don't know anybody personally who has done it. I imagine on the forums that there's somebody, and I imagine also that there's a conversion kit out there in order to do so. I just haven't met anybody that has. Um, it's a good question. I may have to look into that. Oh boy, cars. Whew. What's I'm pretty old school. So for any of those who aren't reading the comment, Tyler Black asked me if funds wouldn't be an issue, what sports car would you buy? A little bit old school. I'm more of a muscle car guy if I had to pick cars. Um, I am in love, absolute love with the 69 Pontiac Trans Am, the white and the blue. Oh, those are so pretty. Oh my god. And they sound mean. But probably my favorite would be an IROC Z Camaro. I know that's lame. But and then for newer cars, the new Corvettes. Or no, I'm sorry, the new Camaros, the brand new Camaros. They're pretty spicy as well. Um, love the way they sound, love the way they look. But that would be if money wasn't an issue. I would absolutely love an IROC Z Camaro, but my 03 Cat Eye, funny enough, has a huge rust hole. Oh boy, you guys are a huge rust hole in the driver's rocker and only has 140 or 104,000 miles. Get it fixed sometime. Yeah, and that's what I grew up with. Was like, so my first 6.5 was a 98 crew cab long bed, and when I bought it, I didn't know until I lifted it. So I did a solid axle swap to it, and y'all have probably seen pictures of it. But I didn't do it correctly, and the front drive shaft was way out of whack. Because I used Ford like 2001 F350 front axle and rear axle. And I made it work, but running it in full drive was not something you just rolled down the road and did. So I only used full drive when I had to, and I left the full drive, the hubs locked in accidentally, and the drive shaft came loose and punched a hole into my floor pan. I peeled back the carpet, and it was just. I'm surprised there was anything to punch through. So it was completely rotted through. I knew better than to leave it that way, so I found an old hood off of an old Lincoln Town car and cut it up and then welded it in the floor. So, yeah, that rust is a real issue. I'm glad I don't deal with that anymore. First baby is always a scary part. It takes time. Agreed. Way better conditioned. Let's keep reading here. Leroy Diesel has the kit, I believe, to do the transmission conversion. Cool. There you go. I have a 94 Chevy 5-speed. Me, some friends were talking. Could you put a regulator on the map sensor to stop the overboost code? Fool the truck to give fuel bigger turbo. Yeah, you could. They do. I believe they make map sensor foolers, or if you have the money to spend, which nobody does nowadays, you can get a tuned ECU to kind of take care of that. But yeah, I believe they make foolers for the map sensor. My dream car would be a 1970 to a 1973 Camaro. Good old. Damn right. 62 Vet, 350 horsepower. Hells yeah. I like them old cars. I've always been into trucks, but the nostalgia behind owning like an old muscle car is just I love old muscle cars. Even the 1970 Mustangs are beautiful. My wife, her dream car is a Fox Body Mustang, and her dad has one. Her real, like, biological dad has one, but it's a ragtop. And I'm not the biggest fan of convertibles because they rip and they bounce up and down going down the road, and I'm not a fan of ragtops at all. Awesome choice. My wife has a 1980 Trans Am. Nice. I like that. Badass. My 6.5 originally had a turbo on it when it was pulled from a 96 2500. Then the dealer uninstalled the turbo and was supposed to be blown up. Luckily, the motor was saved. Why would they take the turbo off it? No, I'm not saying like naturally aspirated 6.5s are gutless, but why make it more gutless? It's like products compared to four. Oh boy. Good question, Tyler. So Tyler asks opinion on Dodge products compared to Ford and Chevy. Let me scratch my head a minute. So, are we just talking about products in general, or are we talking specifics? I knew the question would probably get, yeah, it does. So, in general, I don't really have anything against Dodge. I've just grown up around Chevys, and then my wife grew up around Fords, and like the only Dodge interaction I had growing up was my grandfather owned this beautiful first gen W250, and it was royal blue, and it looked beautiful. But for whatever reason, like that truck in Maine winters and even in the summer did not like to run. It had a 318 in it, I believe. And just for I was too young at the time to know like what could be the issue. And my father was about the only one that attempted to work on it, and he could never get the damn thing running. And it was just it was problem left and right with it. So from my experience with that truck, I've just never been a Dodge person. However, I think first gens are pretty. Second gens, dramatic change between the body styles, number one. But I like the look of a second gen personally over a third gen, and I almost prefer a second gen over a first gen looks wise. And 12 valve Cummins, they have their issues, but I mean, old mechanical diesel. I mean, it's reliable. Reliability is there. As far as cars go, never really been big into the Dodge cars. The old Chargers to me were cool. The old Plymouths were cool. I like the new Chargers over the new Challengers. Personally, in my opinion, just looks wise. But I've just never really been a big Dodge fan. Jeeps, I like Jeeps. Because I know that's a Chrysler product, but just never really been big into Dodge. And then my father, he was all about Fords, and I watched him beat his damn head into the side of a truck multiple fucking times because for whatever reason he just loved headaches, and like I don't know what his deal was. He loved Fords, but then he'd bitch about working on them all the time. And that's not saying like he wasn't buying the right Fords or anything like that, because all vehicles, makes, models, whatever, have their issues, but he just bought the biggest pieces of shit like I ever saw. So so I just, oh well. So I've just always been a Chevy guy, just because my Grampy Dean owned Chevys, never had really any issues out of them. My grandfather on my mother's side, my Papa George, he owned Chevys, never really had any issues out of them. So that's where that comes from. Yeah, haha, my 6.5 is gutless, but 3-speed pulling trans helps out a lot. Yeah. I've always thought the first gen Dodges look the best out of all the generations, and they do look sharp. I mean, when it comes down to first gen Dodges, bullnose Fords and square body Chevys. I mean, that is a timeline I wished I could have grown up with. Just the way those trucks looked and sounded. Those are good looking trucks. My dad had told me that before some 6.5s had burned oil, and the guy who owned that 96 2500 thought it was burning oil. Turns out it wasn't after the dealer pulled it. Every diesel uses a little bit of oil. I don't know any diesel that every once in a while you check the dipstick and you gotta add a little bit. As far as consuming oil, you would see it out the tailpipe. But you've got bigger issues on your hands if it's consuming oil. All vehicles less if they're taken care of. Damn right. And that's why we're taking care of 6.5s, because we want them on the road. I remember seeing this Dodge second gens at car shows and then seeing it in the movie Twister. Is beautiful to me. Closest thing, 18-wheeler design when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, as far as like the first gen Dodge Cummins, I mean, an inline six is gonna sound like an inline six. A V8 diesel makes incredibly different noises than an inline six diesel. And the 7.3 IDI and the 6.5, even though they're V8 IDI engine diesels, they make incredibly different noises. So opinions on the V8 Cummins that Nissan offered for a little. I didn't hear a whole lot of bad out of them. I didn't hear a whole lot of good out of them. And there's a reason why they only ran them for a short amount of time. Evidently, it wasn't a big selling point of V8 Cummins. But I heard more bad than good. But every now and again, I see a little Cummins badge on the Nissan pickup, and I'm like, whoa, wow, it's still around. Can't go wrong with GM. My 1998 K1500 has 287,000 miles. On the factory engine, she does whatever I ask her to. Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing too, is like simplicity. In my mind, GM makes sense. Some of the things that they do, and it's just simple. A 350 will run forever if you take care of it. I've had probably more or the same amount of 350 gas trucks that I've had 6.5s now. I've owned quite a few of 6.5s. Yeah, I mean, I've just always been a GM guy. Before, I had watched a couple of videos for 6.5s being blown up in the Cash for Clunkers program in 2009. To me, it was hard to watch. Yeah, I mean, I heard about that in 2009. Cash for Clunkers was a big deal. They were just looking to melt vehicles down. Yeah. But strangely enough, you don't see a whole lot of 6.5s in junkyards or anymore. At least in my area. I don't know what y'all area looks like or anything like that, but yeah. It was the front fender design that had me at hello on the second gen. Yeah, and so a second gen, either you like the look of them or you absolutely hate the look of them. I thought the first time I saw one, I thought they looked all right. And then the horror stories started coming out about the front ends. And I like, okay, so everybody who's like diehard Dodge or diehard Ford, like rip on the GM guys. Oh, that's a car suspension and a full size pickup. Oh, whatever. I shut up. Like I don't care. But like as far as friend goes, I heard about Death Wobble, and then I dealt with Death Wobble on a couple of buddies' trucks, and I wasn't a fan. Doesn't mean I don't like them, but yeah, I like to keep it in between the lines, not out in the ditch. This V8 Cummins sound amazing deleted in straight pipes, but I don't know about reliability. Like you said, I feel like the 6.4 would be more reliable. Yeah, and 6.4s. I mean, so every once in a while, I'll get on Facebook and I see comments about how 6.4 and 6.0 owners wish they had the reliability of the 6.5. And again, it's all in maintenance, but I've seen 6.4s come in and out of shops. I'm not gonna rip on any diesel, but I've seen a lot of 6.4s. My current service truck is a 6.4, and it's only got about 189,000 miles. And granted, it's a F450 heavy service bed service truck. But I use that thing like it's like my bitch. Like I beat the crap out of it at work. I don't own a 6.4. The company I work for, it seems like that's all they want to buy is Ford service trucks. What made you love the 6.5 so much over Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke? Donald, good question. And actually, I've told, excuse me, pardon. Actually, I've told this story before, but since you asked, I guess I'll tell it again. So, before I started in mechanics or anything like that, I've just always liked the sound of diesels. Then once I started getting into mechanics and being a GM guy, I really in high school, my senior year, I really wanted a diesel truck, and I was looking at Duramaxes like left and right. Found a bunch of, or a handful of LB7s and LLYs, and the LBZs were out of the question. They were just way too expensive. But they were like the LB7s, and I graduated in 2015. But at the time, like LB7s and LLYs were still going 15 and up, like as far as price wise. Um, and being on my own, um, with a Burger King salary, because my first W-2 job was at Burger King. There's absolutely no way I was going to be able to afford that. Put myself through high school, have a full part-time job at Burger King, and have a job shadow at Freightliner. Um, there was just absolutely no way that was going to work. So I kept scrolling on Uncle Henry's, which is Maine specific Craigslist. If anybody knows about it, awesome. And I saw this ad. It was crew cab long bed dually, 98 Chevy K3500, and the ad said 6.5 Duramax. So I started reading because I was confused, because I thought Duramaxes were all 6.6s. And the more and more I read about this truck, the more and more I found myself interested and fond with it. And I wound up buying it. And I fell in love with that truck. It was my very first diesel, very first crew cab, very first 6.5. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm gonna tell all you guys, all 17 of you who's watching. I drove that truck every day, paid for the insurance, paid for the fuel, and modded it exactly the way I wanted it. Well, after high school, I went to college, and at the time, I was living with an ex's family while she went off to boot camp. And I got booted out. And for a year and a half, I lived out of that truck. I was homeless, I didn't really have anywhere to go. And I lived out of that, between sleeping in the back seat of that crew cab and sleeping at my best friend's house. That was my home, and I owed a lot of time to that truck, and didn't matter how cold it was or anything like that. For whatever reason, that truck always just started and kept me warm and kept me safe, because I slept in parking lots, and I can't count how many times I thanked myself for locking the doors before I went to sleep. But Yeah, I guess my passion for 6.5s all comes from that crew cab, that my 98. And then I sold it to some kid for 6 grand, and he, to my understanding, broke the frame in 3 places. So awesome. So yeah, kind of a little backstory on that, but yeah. And then I moved to Texas, and finally bought an LB7 Duramax, and it was the biggest hunk of crap diesel uh, that I've ever owned. Just because the previous owner didn't take care of it, and I didn't have the funds to keep it going. So, unfortunately, I let that one go for a loss, and then we moved here to Tennessee a year later, and I bought another 6.5, and that 6.5 is sitting out my driveway, smashed. So, yeah, that's the story on why I like 6.5s. Just because I've invested so much time and energy into learning about them and keeping them going and working on so many subscriber trucks. Um, yeah, I like 6.5s. They're simple to me. I have never heard of Chevy or GMC having death wobble. Yeah, I have heard them snapping torsion bars, but that's a very rare occurrence. If you're snapping a torsion bar, you're off-roading the crap out of it and beating the shit out of it. But a weak tie rod ends, whoop-de-doo, or weak tie rods, and are their comebacks, whoop-de-fucking-do. Like, I'm still a Chevy guy. I'm glad on the new trucks they finally updated the interiors. Agreed, the interiors are very sharp, and the parts Chevy they slow with. Yeah. So as far as the new Chevy and GMCs, like I know a lot of people don't like the front ends of them. I like them. Um, I can't say too much bad about the L5P Duramax because fucking horsepower and torques is. But as far as the interior and exterior goes, my only gripe with them is the single post mirror. Like I like the 2 post mirrors on the earlier trucks, but that's about my only gripe. Um, I prefer the GMCs over Chevys, and I've always preferred the GMCs over Chevys, but I have 3 Chevys sitting on the drive. Well, 4 technically, but one's in pieces, two's in pieces. Mm, um, I didn't deal with death wobble on my Chevy until I slammed it on the ground. But once I replaced the suspension parts, haven't dealt with it in 5 years. Awesome. I would love to buy a 2-wheel drive so I can slam it someday. We graduated the same year. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Andy and I both graduated in 2015. And then I went through a year and a half of college But my college years, I was working at Freightliner in Bangor, Maine. And that's around the same time I got booted out, became homeless. So I couldn't really, I had to weed some things out, and I stopped going to college, and I still got my certificate of fucking completion, but um, yeah, I I went straight to work. I worked at Freightliner for quite a while, and then I moved all the way to Texas. So Maine to Texas, fun. Like, salute to you, Jesse. I always admire your honesty and transparency. I'm. I was always told honesty is always the best policy, and everybody has been down a different road. You never know what's going on behind the scenes of somebody in their life. Um, you never know what paths other people have traveled. So I don't I've never seen any reason to lie to anybody to make myself look better or for somebody to have sympathy for me. Um, there are some things that I keep private, um, especially like regarding my father. Uh, some of the things that went on in my past regarding him. Um, yeah, those are my horrible memories to keep to myself. But other than that, like I didn't have the best childhood, but um, like I don't see any reason to like lie about it or anything like that. It's in the past. Like um, I just I don't ever intentionally try to make myself look better. Like I'm just a guy. I'm just a regular guy. Um, but yeah, I have these Q and A's, so y'all can ask me anything, and I answer as honestly as I possibly can. Um, so that being said, 6.5 in my Tahoe has oil and coolant. Running decent still, but I'm guessing block is cracked. Looking to source a new long block. Who do you recommend? Did you know that you can buy 6.5 long blocks from O'Reilly's? um, they're about $6,000, $6,500 for new heads, new pistons, new block or reman block. I forget what company they use, but yeah, you can buy a long block from O'Reilly's if you so wish. If you have a good O'Reilly's representative. There's also Leroy Diesel. I know he sells long blocks. Um, I've got my own quarrels about Leroy Diesel, but that's just me. I don't like the base model version of the new Chevy 1500s. Agreed. I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I should have clarified. Uh, when I say trucks, I've never personally, and this is the truth, I've never personally owned a 1500. I've always had 3/4 ton or bigger. So I apologize. I completely forget about the half-ton pickups. Um, I do not like the half-ton trucks. No matter how capable they are or whatever. For the new generation trucks, every time I think of trucks, I'm thinking of the 2500, the 3500. Um, yeah, that's my oopsie. But yeah, I don't like the 1500s at all. As far as the new trucks go. I have a 96 crew cab dually red leather interior, or white with red leather, all original, rust free. Having my injection pump rebuilt now. Awesome. My '03 Silverado is pretty nice truck. 5-inch lift. 20s with 33s. Regular cab long bed. 5.3. 5.3 is a good motor. I like the 5.3. Z71. Truck has 73,200 miles on it when we bought it. And now it has 104,000 miles. And I've seen them 5.3s go fucking 250,000 miles, man. Like, take care of it and it will take care of you. I honestly, like, let's think of 2001 to 2007 Duramaxes, or even like the 1500 trucks and stuff. I almost secretly like the '01 to '02 trucks for Chevys over the Cat Eye. And I know that's like throwing fuel on a fire that I personally have no say in, but like my 2 cents is I like to look at those trucks more. Cat Eyes are beautiful, but there's a little bit of that like '01 to '02 that there's something about it. The front ends I really like about them. Life has its lessons. We hope we learn from them. I'm 70 and still learning. You don't ever stop learning, Larry. I completely agree. Um, Life has taught me a lot of things. I used to be a humongous pushover. Just let people walk all over me. Um, I don't anymore. I did for a long time, and the I tried to help people and tried to keep some friends, and just let them walk all over me. And I don't do that. Opinion on 454, the 7.4 liter is a fuel pig. It drinks gasoline, but I like them. Reliable enough. I mean, it's just like a big 350. I mean, reliability is there. The 454 Vortex are good. They just drink fuel. I mean, you'll pass everything but a gas station. Actually, we had a service truck, or it used to be a mini roll off turned into a service truck at my place of employment. And the donut gaskets for the exhaust headers went bad, and the O2 sensors weren't picking up the NOx properly, and it was running real rich and just fucking eating fuel. 6.5s get better fuel mileage than the 454. Big facts, Larry. Agreed. The old 3 has been in the family most of its life. Grandpa bought it 2004, and my dad bought it from my grandpa in April 2020. Yeah, I mean, you take care of it, it'll take care of you. I mean, I saw another one here. Cool Cars KJ said he's going to have you look at his wife's truck at some point. Yeah, I told him I'd work on it, and I'm a man of my word. I told him if he gets it up here, I'll work on it. So uh, just whenever. So he told me that he's waiting for because he does hot shot trucking, like he uh, hauls different things around throughout the United States. And he told me that he was just waiting on a load to come this way, that he would drop his wife's truck off, and I told him I'd work on it. I'm still for that. If any of y'all want me to work on your trucks, just fucking bring them to me. We'll figure it out. I mean, ordered some parts from Mabco in Tyler, Texas a week ago. Anyone used them before? Still haven't shipped. Oh shit. I personally have not. I've never even dealt with Mabco, but yeah, if anybody in the chat help him out. Yeah, funny story. A couple days ago, funny story. A couple days ago, me and my buddies were in his 87 GMC K1500 350 throttle body. And we decided to be idiots and drift out of the school parking lot after a game, then did burnouts at a stop sign. Have fun. I mean, in all honesty, looking back, I wished I had a little more fun than. And I'm not saying my childhood wasn't fun or anything like that, but I wished in my teenage years I'd have had a little more fun like that. But I had to learn what responsibilities was real fucking quick, and I couldn't afford to roast tires because it all just came out of my Burger King fund. They had the best price on 6.5 parts. Reviews weren't great, but we'll see. Keep me posted on that. I'll look into them. Let me know what you find, because the more companies there are for aftermarket 6.5 parts is always a plus. You're just a bit late to the party. Well, better late than never, man. We had talked about working on my 94, but found a local mobile guy that loved working on 6.5's, got everything done with that. Wanted me doing awesome. Well, I mean, that's great to hear that you found another person that would be willing to work on 6.5's, man. I mean, they're getting harder and harder to come by. Yeah, like Larry just said, you can't find anybody to work on them anymore. New camshaft for 120 plus shipping. Ain't bad price at all. But yeah, I mean, finding anybody that works on them and is willing to work on them or share any bits and pieces of information is few and far between. Most, if not all, the shops around me will not work on them. I only know of one, and from where I'm at, he's about 2.5 hour drive, and I work on my own shit anyways. But um, I've worked on a bunch of customer vehicles here, and it's unfortunate because I don't just like work on people's vehicles and record videos for that unless I have their consent, and a lot of people don't like want their vehicles in video. So yeah, I'm always conscious of like, hey, do you mind if I like record what I'm doing to your truck? And I usually get a comment of like, well, uh, I mind, and then I'm like, okay, well, no problem. Like, let me. It will get done faster anyways if I'm not recording anything on it. So yeah. But but good deal. Yep. I was willing to drive 6 hours to turn you loose on it, and just happened to run across a guy on Facebook forum, and I don't blame you, man. I mean, I seriously, like, you lucked out like big time. Like a 6 hour drive is far different from 20 minutes. Like the amount of money you saved on fuel, the amount of money you saved on having it like just transported anywhere is like a huge money savings. And right now in today's day and age, that is like big. How far are you from Bowling Green, Kentucky? Let me look it up real quick. Google Maps. Google Maps. Maps. Here we go. Bowling Green, Kentucky is 3.5 hours from me. I'm in Madisonville, so I watched you do the heads on your wife's truck. That was enough for me. What do you mean by that? Just curious. Looking for a new project soon. I'm from Scottsville, Kentucky, right outside Bowling Green. Yeah, so 3.5 hours, probably with uh, uh, fuel stops and stuff like that. It'd probably be a 4 hour drive. I hear you. Yeah, it's head gaskets on anything is not fun. Um, and then the problem with it is like you find more crap as you dig deeper and deeper into it. That and I just wind up buying new heads for it with the like with the fear of like if I get into it and I want these heads sent out to my machinist and he tells me that they're cracked, I'm gonna be bummed. So I just bought brand new heads for it, which is this legitimately just about the same price as having your head sent out and machined and come back. Volvo inline fives. I haven't really dealt much with Volvo. I know Volvo had best in class safety rating for their old like wagons for well, I don't know, like 20 years or something like that. As far as the engines go, I've never really heard anything bad, but then again, I'm not like big paying attention to them either. Um, but yeah, like the more and more you dig into it, the more crap you find, and then you like if you have a mindset like I do, like you're not just gonna put it back together wrong because you know you're going to uh, have to tear it back down at some point. So like when I did that, I knew the injectors were good, so that was about the only thing I really like didn't mind reusing, or the rockers. I made sure like all everything was okay with the rockers. There was no excess wear. The push rods, the fucking lifters. There's I put new fuel return lines on it. I while I was in there, I put new fuel lines up to the injection pump just to make sure everything was okay. Like I did not want to tear back into it again. I'm in the process of doing head gaskets on my 95, my 65 right now. I keep hearing everybody keep talking about crack blocks. Prayers is not the case in my situation. For your sake, I hope so too. Um, yeah, it that is such, and pardon my language, to tear into something that far and expect to have like nothing wrong. Um, it's a real shot to the nuts, legitimately. That like you tear into it that far and then you find like the cylinder's cracked or something like that. And God, I don't. Those are the phone calls that I dread, like telling the customer, like, "Hey, I got the heads off. Um, you need new heads. Like, there's no hope in machining them." Or like, "Hey, I tore the heads off because I assumed it was the head gasket, and come to find out, like the water jacket cracked into the combustion chamber, and your motor's no good." And so I've had to do that once, and I hate being the bearer of bad news. Turbo version for a toy. Cool. Like right now I'm driving around the Honda Civic, and as much as I would love to do something with it, to give it more power, because it's a 91 uh, Honda Civic LX model, which is the one that like nobody cares about. They all want that stupid hatchbacks. Nobody cares about the sedan. Um, that one came out with 76 horsepower, and it's a dog, man. Like, the fuel savings aside, that thing is a fucking turd. And I can't wait to get rid of it. So much to take off, and I'm just too dang old. I mean, I'll get there someday as well. I used to spend all week working on cars outside, and I hear you. Like, I've been mechanicking a long time, even before I went to school. But I also worked in the woods, and like my body has taken its toll, and like my knees and my leg, I got hit by a truck, so like I have one of my left leg is not what it used to be, and then I have two herniated discs in my back, broke my arm, broken just about all my fingers, um, and like I feel yeah, like some days I dread getting out of bed. But if I make it to 60, like I'll be shocked. Uh, got a relative with a 93 K 2500 6.5 diesel with a 4 or 5 speed swap. Thing was repainted and fixed up back in October. Cool. I would love if I could find one instead of going back with the 4L80 for the clean slate crew cab. If I could find somebody with a MV 4500 or I would really love an MV 5600 that bolts up to Chevy bolt pattern. I would love in a 5600, but nobody has them. Found during rebuild was started bolt hole. Yeah. Um, Mine is a 599 block. Only crack I found was the starter bolt hole. Thank God. Yeah. Um, uh, that shit is no fun either. Um, it's a real pain in the butt. And the biggest pain is like you can find somebody that welds cast iron. It's not terribly hard to weld cast iron, but um, what happens when that piece breaks off and you can't find that piece to weld back onto? That sucks. Like a daily an '07 Honda Fit. It's a true beater, but I love it. A 5-speed base model. Yeah, see, my Honda Civic isn't even fun. It's an automatic. Like it's, uh, and it's got 527,000 miles on it. Like every bit of that 76 horsepower that I had is gone. Like it maybe I would guesstimate has about 50 horsepower. It does still like get up and go. Just there's nothing impressive about it. It doesn't even have cup holders, which is a humongous pain in the ass. But I also have a 2005 Suzuki LTZ 400. Oh, oh, I love LTZ 400s. Have you done a big bore kit on one before? On an LTZ 400? No, but I don't imagine it would be difficult. I mean, it's just a bigger jug and or I'm sorry, a bigger cylinder, a bigger piston. So it wouldn't be that hard. Done big bore kits before, but no, I don't imagine it'd be that hard. Sure, we aren't related. I got run over by a forklift in 03. Maybe. It's not that I'm even prone to accidents. It's either like okay, so when I worked in the woods, I was really young, working for my helping my uh, grandfather and my father and stuff like that in the woods. And my dumbass would jump off a skidder tire, and I don't know if anybody knows what a skidder is, but the tires on them are like 6 foot tall, and I was little old me just jumping off the top of skidder tires. And everybody told me like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna feel that when you're older." And like, no, yeah, you are, dumbass. Like, now my knees can fucking crack every time I stand up. And then my herniated discs, I was torquing U-bolts on a crane by myself, and the torque spec for those were 750 foot-pounds, and I did not have a torque multiplier, and just torque them like that, pop, pop, like there go the discs. It's like great. So, and I don't take any pain meds either. Not that I'm against pain meds, but I'm against pain meds for me. And my whole theory behind that is not that I'm worried that I get addicted to it, is if like when I'm off pain meds, I know how hard I can work because I know my limits. Like once my back starts hurting, call it. Once my knees start really hurting, call it. If I work through the pain on pain meds, uh, it gives me a false sense of like, oh, everything's okay. And then I feel 10 times worse the next day. So I don't take pain meds. I just don't. Hello. Welcome to the stream that's been going on for 2 hours now. Well, I'm glad you made it. Yeah, back to the LTZ 400 there. No, dude, don't be sorry, dude. Like, don't worry about it. Like, this was a spontaneous live stream at best. Like, I let y'all know like 2 hours or so in advance when I was gonna do it. When I should have given like a morning notice, so anybody who wanted to could attend. But yeah, don't be sorry. Like, don't worry about it. If you have any questions for me, just go ahead and ask. Like, we've covered personal questions. We've covered like favorite cars and stuff. So just ask away. Is that the machine that drags the logs through the forest? Yes, it sure is. We had cable skidders, we had grapple skidders. For whatever reason, we just ran John Deere's. And then we had one old, wasn't a Timberjack. It was, what the fuck was that? Forget the damn name, but it had a 2-stroke Detroit, and it was just loud as hell. Tree Farmer. There we go. Yep. Yeah, we had an old tree farmer that had an old 2-stroke Detroit in it. And it was cool. It was really cool. Loud as hell. You had to wear earplugs plus earmuffs. And there was no steering wheel. It was all like joystick. So, and that was an old grapple skidder. That was really cool. But when our shear broke, we had a whole old hydro axe, which I don't know if any of you know what that is, but it's this big thing with a claw on the front of it that is set up like a backwards skidder that you go up to a tree and it uses a big axe blade to chop a tree down and then you lay it over. Yeah, after that broke, they stopped using the grapple skidders because it wasn't efficient enough. Nice. But Suzuki 4-bank. Yeah, this one was definitely a Detroit. Old 2-stroke. Just I remember the Detroit valve covers. A lot more room to work on an old tree farmer than the John Deeres that we had. The engine bay on a John Deere, the ones that we had, were really, really narrow, and to get to anything on the front of them were just junk. What year of 6.5 do you recommend? Do you prefer all mechanical or do you prefer a little bit of electronics? Personally, I like not the DS4 injection pump trucks, and specifically, I like the 97 and newer. Those are the ones that I prefer. 96 to newer. Reason being is I've dealt more with the electronic injection pump trucks. I like the interiors better from 95 to newer. 96 and newer, I like the OBD2 connection versus the OBD1. When you get time, do you play video games? So, nowadays, no. But before Presley, my daughter was born, I used to play the shit out of some SnowRunner on PlayStation 4. And then, like, all my childhood games as a kid that I either was able to play on PS2 or the only time I was able to play video games was at my best friend's house. So we used to play like Call of Duty Black Ops, Black Ops 2. And then, like, I grew up with Jak and Daxter, the precursor Legacy. So I have all those. Jak and Daxter up to Jak 3. Like, those video games. Ratchet and Clank was like an awesome game for me. Got all those. But since Presley was born, I got like no time. Her naps don't last long enough. Yeah. But I was really getting into SnowRunner. And when Presley used to sleep through the day, and like that was great. Like, I'd just sit there and customize my trucks and pretend. It was so peaceful. But no, I don't. I used to play video games. I don't anymore. I was on well, let me answer this one. I don't know if the same motor, but I remember my friend sending me a old guy with a Detroit 6-cylinder diesel supercharged with an air starter. It sounded amazing. Yeah, so fun fact, the first time I ever came across a air starter, I was working at Freightliner, and we had this company back in Maine called the Stool Bus, and basically it was a septic truck, and it was a Freightliner FL70 with a 3126 with a fucking air starter on it. And I went to go push the start button, and it jumped the shit out of me. And that was my first time with an air starter. Come to find out, that starter was bad and needed replaced. So I had to hook up another truck with a working air compressor up to this truck just to build enough air to get this starter to turn, because you need air pressure in order to make the fucking starter to turn. But it was dumping. The problem with it was dumping too much air quickly, and I had to replace the starter. Anyways, it jumped the crap out of me, and wow, like that was my first deal with an air starter. It jumped the shit out of me. Because I thought I had broken something. No, it was. It does sound amazing though. I was on the fence about buying a 6.5 after watching your videos. Man, I bought one home today. 100% thanks for the info. And if there's any questions in the future that you have, man, just reach out to me. All my links in the descriptions and all of my videos for my social medias, or leaving comments on the videos themselves. More than happy to help. Just give me some time to respond, because I am a busy man, but I'm going to try to have these live streams as much as possible, so y'all can reach out to me. It'll be the easiest way. Would you personally choose a Super 54 or Super 60 from Quadstar? Depends on what I was doing with the truck. For daily driving, light towing, like not seriously heavy towing, Super 54 is going to be fine, man. Super 60, they even recommend for like heavy towing, like towing all the time. Yeah, Super 54, it's a solid option. Appreciate the content, mule mate. Most people are quick to hate on these 6.2s and 6.5, but I love them. Always felt injection pump was weak point of power. They are. They really are. The next comment says P pump custom intake. Somehow you're gonna have to make that P pump work for 8 cylinders, not just 6. But I'm sure they make a pump out there for a V8 application. It's more money. I mean, that's all it is. If you got the money, then don't worry about it. But yeah, the injection pumps, they're a weak point. The DS4, the DB2 injection pumps, they were weak. DS4, they're no exception. I appreciate you, man. I will definitely reach out. Any questions? No problem. Anytime. That's awesome. Our most really loud knocks, rod knocks. They can be. Um, Using a stethoscope to determine whereabouts that noise is coming from will definitely help. But yeah, just it's not out of the realm of possibilities, is what I'm trying to say. Loud knocks, yeah. Well, it was nice chatting with you. Got to get the kids to bed, ready for bed. Have 8 dogs. Enjoy it. Well, thank you for sticking around, Larry. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your conversations as well. Yeah, get them kids to bed. What would you recommend for every towing? Super 54 with an air-to-air intake kit is what I would recommend. That way you maintain the drivability of your truck by also keeping your EGTs down and improving airflow. And the longevity of your engine. That way, when you're not towing crap, it's still drivable and doesn't like surge on you or anything. I still have to say, the GMT 400 is one of my favorite body styles. Absolutely, that's the majority of what I've owned. As a kid growing up in Atlanta, they used to Ferrari style kits for the 4-door dualies. That's pretty cool. The one I brought home today was only 101,000 miles. Only change was PMD relocation to the fender with a heat sink. Well, at least they got that out of the way for you. But that's pretty low miles, man. My smashed crew cab, that thing had 303,000. I'm a fan of the 6.5s because a lot of people hate them, but I've always been an underdog type guy. Same, I've been the underdog, man. Like I love the 6.5. They're simple, they're reliable, they get the job done. Like, where would you put a smokestack, front or back? Behind the cab, personally. My black crew cab that I had a 6-inch stack behind the cab. Pretty sweet. I don't really like hood stacks. It's a thing, but I don't enjoy cleaning soot off the windshield every time I turn around, so I just prefer behind the cab. Have I ever personally ran used cooking oil or motor oil as fuel in a DS4 injection pump truck? No. In a DB2 injection pump truck? Yes. Just because I did not want to fuck up that optical sensor or any other component on that pump. The DS4s are super sensitive when it comes to crap like that, and I just never wanted to take the risk. agreed. Like I don't enjoy cleaning soot off the cab, especially on the windshield where the local, depending on where you live, the local law enforcement would see it as a distraction or impede your visibility and write you tickets anyways. Like I just prefer a stack behind the cab. I have a 6-inch rough country lift like yours. How is towing with the lift kit? I have not towed with it. Find it hard or same non-lifted trucks. I find it the same. Now, there is a difference when you go from a larger tire size and the overall fact that you're taking a truck that's built like a brick and making that brick into a cinder block. The your fuel economy does go down a little bit, and your aerodynamics suffer a little bit. But as far as capability of towing, I didn't notice no difference really. Even with bigger tires, now it's a little slower to get off the line, but if you can maintain that speed, then that's what I've noticed. But yeah, like my crew cab back when it was a dually, like I didn't notice too much difference in towing from when it was a dually to when it was a lifted single wheel. Like obviously I can see around the fenders a little better when it's not a dually, but the clean slate truck that I'm building, the other crew cab, that will be going back to a dually. I just can't decide whether I want it to be a fleet side bed or a flatbed. That's my predicament because I absolutely hate headache racks on flatbeds. I think they look stupid, and I get the practicality of not busting out your rear windshield or rear window, but yeah, I hate headache racks on flatbeds. Yes, that is the primary function behind a dually is for stability and to load share. Basically, instead of like if you're hauling, say 7,000 pounds on a trailer, you're distributing the weight instead of on 2 wheels as a factory single wheel to 4 wheels on a dually. It keeps the potential of blowing a tire down because the tires aren't getting as hot. So a nice flatbed is unique. I agree. I am so on the fence about this, fellas. I want it to be a flatbed so bad. Like OBS Solutions has their cowboy truck, and I love that flatbed. It doesn't have a headache rack, nothing on it. But like I am so for a flatbed. That and putting shit like you can fit 2 quads on a flatbed. If I have a regular dually bed, like I gotta stand one up and then move the other one behind it. Like what a pain in the ass. Do it. I agree. Flatbed the crap out of it. Yeah, choices pretty much made. So I like, okay. So flatbeds are very useful. I like flatbeds. Um, I I just want it to be different than other flatbeds that I've had in the past. Uh, like I don't I like steel flatbeds. I would want it to be a steel flatbed, but I'd want to incorporate like compartments on it, and I would want to like contour the sides to kind of the side of the truck as well. Um, utility bed. So the extended cab 2500 is going to be a utility bed. So the other my crew cab, I would like to have a flatbed potentially. I don't know. I'm indecisive. But yeah, the extended cab 3/4 ton is going to be a utility bed. What is your thoughts on a ranch hand grill guard for a 95K 2500 regular cab? I've always liked the ranch hand bumpers, honestly. Ranch hand makes a good product. Um, I like the big full grill guards personally. I think they look nice. I know they're heavy. They're heavy as shit. But that makes all the difference when you smoke a fucking deer on the highway too. Like, you don't frig up your grill or anything like that. Do you like flatbeds that are Waldo guy made? Oh, so are you referring to Waldo's World on YouTube? And if so, yes and no. I like. I've watched a few of his videos, and he's like really interesting. Um, I would have. I I like his idea on a flatbed. I would have just done a couple things a little differently. Compartments around the wheels, but also like compartments for like in between the frame rails on the deck. And I know a lot of people don't like that because if you have a lot of crap on the deck, like you can't get to it. However, if you're hauling a gooseneck trailer, like I do quite a bit, um, if you're hauling a gooseneck trailer, like those compartments can still be opened if you don't have any shit on the flatbed. So utilize every space, every ounce of space is what I mean. So plus, I like the deck of the bed to be as low as possible. Like I know a lot of, and I like side panels. I don't like to just see like straight into the frame or anything like that. Um, yeah. So compartments around the wheels, compartments on the deck itself, no headache rack, stuff like that. I probably should have asked you before about mentioning other people on the channel. Um, as far as like subscribers or like working on like other people's trucks and stuff like that. Um, so I've shouted out a few people, a few people who I've worked on their trucks before. Earlier in the live stream, I shouted out James Tate. I went down to Georgia and worked on his 6.5. A while back, I shouted out an older gentleman. His name was John, and his son. I went out to Oliver Springs to work on their trucks. I've shouted them out for. I've shouted out a couple companies. I shouted out a couple other YouTubers that thought about collabing with me. They're also in the 6.5 world and didn't get a whole lot of one of them like shouted me out, so I shouted them out along with another one, and the other one like was like, oh, okay. And I was like, fuck you, man. So I never fucking shouted him out again. But yeah. What would you say should be the first upgrade to do to my stock low mile 6.5 since the PMD is already relocated? First upgrade, an aftermarket lift pump. Strongly and highly recommend an aftermarket lift pump. And then a fluid damper and a billet pulley for the harmonic balancer. Those would be my two like firsts. What's up, KJ? Haven't talked in a while, brother. How you been? You still need to bring me that 6.5 so we can get to working on it. Some people get weirded out when you mention other YouTubers on their channel. I get that. So the whole idea behind that was to get a couple, or it was along the lines of like setting up a meet and greet or a collab to where people could come meet and talk with us. And yeah, something like that. I need to get the single cab OBS dually up to you. My subscribers can't wait to see what exactly is wrong with it. Would be a great collab. I agree. Once you get that thing up here, we can start digging into it. Start actually getting it running a little less like poo. Yeah, we just whenever I'll just keep me posted. So I've got a 6.5, but it came. Excuse me. A different lower intake manifold, and it didn't go with this motor. Tips? What lower intake manifold are you referring to? Are you talking about like an EGR manifold that doesn't match the non-EGR? I would try to find. Actually, I've got one that will be for sale shortly. Try to do away with EGR altogether. EGR sucks. What lift pump would you recommend? I like FASS, Air Dog, a 100. Now I'm running a 165 on my Smash Crew Cam. That is not necessary. A 165 will do you just fine. or I'm sorry, a 100 will do just fine. I've heard hit and miss reviews on the Raptor lift pumps or the Carter lift pumps. I prefer fast, but anything with remote mount filters, I would go with. So, Air Dog fast, can't go wrong. Yes, I plan to put every upgrade you recommend on it. I think you're exactly right with the upgrades you mentioned. Spend the money on quality parts the first time. I agree. And I can't wait to do it to that truck, man. I've seen the stuff that you make, and I can't wait to see what that truck turns into. Doesn't match the block. Came from a van, and the motor is from a pickup. Well interested in picking that up from you. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Just go to any one of my like my last video and go down to the description box and find the link for my Facebook. Facebook, by the way, is probably the best place to get a hold of me or to relay chat back and forth. And I'll let you know what I got. I know I have the lower intake manifold. But if that's off of van, on one, let me read that again just to be, doesn't match the block, came out of a van. And the motor is for a pickup. That's what I'm wondering. And if you have the center mount turbo set up, those should be different heads that are on that, and you can't just swap the intake manifolds. I believe you'd have to swap the heads as well. That's probably a bigger pain in the ass than what you want to deal with. 6.5 off-roading. They're just as good as any gas engine. So the GMT 400 platform is a solid platform for truck wise, and then motor wise, they're just as good as any 350, 454, or anything like that. They've got enough horsepower and torque to do the job. I mean, I've gone off roading before in 6.5. That ain't no big deal. They're capable. Quick question for you, Plank. The intake manifold bolts that go into the head, do they look like they go at a straight 90-degree into the surface of the head, or are they kind of angled? Because if they're angled going into the surface of the head, the intake manifold off of a side mount turbo truck goes straight into the head, and the intake manifold that I have wouldn't necessarily work. But that's so you'd need new heads, not just an intake manifold, which sucks because it really limits your options as far as intake manifolds go. But yeah, 6.5s are just as capable off road as any of them. Like, what kind of four-wheeler do you recommend? I like sport quads. That's just me. I'm a big Yamaha fan, but that doesn't mean I hate all the rest of them. I like sport quads. LTZ 400, Honda 400EX, TRX 450, YFZ 450, Polaris Predator 500s, but like a YFZ 450. So I want a YFZ 450. But I'm thinking about trading the Warrior. Some guy on Facebook Marketplace has a Raptor 660 who's looking to downsize, and I thought about doing that, but I don't know. Raptor 700s. I mean, you can't go wrong with the power. Yeah, I like all different kinds. KFX 450. LTR 450. Oh, what's the next project for me? Shit. I've got to rip the suspension out of the smashed crew cab. Hoping to get started on ripping the suspension out of the crew cab next week. It's supposed to be nice, so I got the motor and transmission out. Now I just need to get the suspension out. Tomorrow's video will be the one of me ripping the engine transmission out of the smashed crew cab. That question reminds me, maybe I need to bring the Raptor 700 when I come up. Get us some riding in. I would love to. I would love to go up to Royal Blue or Windrock to go riding. There's a couple things I need to fix on the Warrior first, but yeah. Any interest in street bikes or cruisers? I've never been a big fan of crotch rockets, but like I love the Victory motorcycles and Indian motorcycles. I'm a pretty big fan of the Victory high balls or the Victory 8 balls are pretty fucking sweet. And then the Indian Scout Bobber is like my favorite motorcycle. Time to go eat. Thank you again, man. I'm looking up lift pumps now to get to see what's in store for. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming and hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Do you like dogs? Yeah, I have two dogs. I have Maddie, or Shop Dog, or Maddie Moo. She goes by many names. She is a blue tick hound and pit bull mix. And then I have Brooklyn, or Brook Trout, or Brookie. She goes by many names as well. She is a lab and pit bull mix. So I love my dogs. They are both females. Just keep it simple. Victories are cool. I've wanted one to go with my Harley. Yeah, Harleys are cool too. I like the little Sportsters for Harleys. You know, the old V Rods are fucking like muscle bikes. Like those are cool. Um, I like the Harley Sportsters just because so many people customize them and make them to what they want. Like a Sportster that's made into like a bobber. Like I'm a big bobber fan. Um, yeah, those are pretty cool. My dog is one. My black lab, chocolate lab mix. Nice. I love labs. I love a stupid lab. Oh my god! Like my best friend, he had a brown lab. His name was Harley, and he was just the biggest Harley bear ever. He was just a good dog. And now he's got one, Coco, and he's a good pup too. Like just labs are good. German shepherds are good too. Um, and it like I don't care what breed anybody talks about, but like it all depends on the owner. Like like I got bit by a dog, and I will never hold that against the dog. I'll always hold it against the owner because the owner trained it to do that. My uncle had a German Shepherd. Her name was Sable, and he was very mean to that dog. And Sable ripped the chain out of the ground. And I was riding my bike, and she didn't like bikes, and she came out and bit me right on the ass. And oh my god, like, and I don't blame the dog because the dog thought it was doing what dog should do. Dog brain tell dog to do. But like I'll never hold it against the dog. Um, I've got a pit mastiff mix. Blows my mind how great she is. Yeah, and like I've I've had a Great Dane, and then I got my two idiots, and they're just as great as can be. Mine's name is Duke. Awesome. I like Duke. But yeah, like I like mastiffs. My best friend's brother-in-law, he had two English mastiffs, and they were just the biggest fucking couch potatoes. My Great Dane, his name was Moose, and he was just a big couch potato and a lap dog, and like all dogs are great. Like the only ones that I don't like are my neighbor's dogs, and they're just the littlest yappiest fucking beanie babies. Like I don't care for dogs that don't shut the fuck up. Like I am trying to record. You're in the background. Shut up. Go inside. Like don't like yappy dogs. The only thing I know about the blue tick hound is the black shilling song. Yeah. Yeah, and like so blue tick is a hunting dog, and it's Tennessee's mascot for the Tennessee Vols is a blue tick hound, I believe. But the only thing that Maddie shows that she's blue tick is that she's got these little blue and black spots on her stomach, and she's got a high prey drive. Like, oh my god, we got bunnies that like wild rabbits around the house, and she chases the shit out of them. I know, the perfect lap dogs. They are a Great Pyrenees. My old coworker had a humongous fucking Great Pyrenees. He was big. You ever think about dumping a 6'5" in something strange, like a G-body Chevy or something? I think about that all the time. I would love to build like a rad rod truck. Just something stupid, just something obnoxious. And just dropping a 6'5" in it just to, you know, say it's got a 6'5" in it. Like, uh, I would love like an old, like something 60s, 50s or 60s, and just drop a 6'5" in it because everybody does a Cummins swap. Like, I would love to do a 6'5" swap, something stupid. Fuck. But yeah, I'd love to do something like that. Like if like I have a buddy, his name is Corey Wheat, and or I wouldn't even call him a buddy, but uh, he does uh, crazy stuff like that. Um, and not that we're not like we couldn't have a conversation with each other. We're not friendly to each other or anything like that. But I'm not hitting him up on a regular fucking basis. The last time I talked to Corey was probably at the last truck show or something. But he's busy guy and I'm busy guy, and we like trucks, but our tastes are different. But he's always building like the craziest stuff, and that I just find that like that's like the coolest fucking thing. Oh yeah. Yep, he's a fucking cool guy. Do you have any hobbies other than trucks? Four wheelers, man. I love me some outdoor ATV activities. Um, my wife loves to fish. I can't stand fishing. To me, it's boring. But I used to race dirt bike. Um, but I love to get outside and jump on a four wheeler, just fucking go. um, I like to tinker with things. Like I wish I was more into RC cars, but I know that's a money pit all in itself. But yeah, I I love getting on a four wheeler and just going. Do I like hunting? Yeah, I like hunting. I haven't hunted since I left Maine about 5 6 years ago, but I love hunting. To me, it's not to me, hunting's here and fishing's like down here. Like I am not like I used to be big into fishing back when I lived in Maine because it was easier and not every single fucking person was a pro fisherman down here in Tennessee. So the fish are much more stupid in Maine and much easier to catch. And to me, just catching fish is fun. But I don't need to learn no special fucking tricks to catch a fucking fish. Like, like I would rather sit in a deer stand all fucking day and not see a damn thing and go hunting than going to the side of a river and I hate boats. Like I'm not a big boat guy. Or just going out in a boat and nothing. 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 By that third cast, I'm done. Like, and that's just me. I don't have the patience for it, but I do have the patience for going and sitting in a tree stand. So, every time I take my Traxxas UDR out. I promise you, it cost me $50 because I end up breaking something. I know, and their toys are money pits. That's like my Warrior, for example. Fucking money pit. Like, I did not expect to dump $5,000 into that fucking four-wheeler, but I did, and I love it. I love it all the same. But I get on fucking TikTok and I see the little like it almost reminds me of Snow Runner, like the little RC trucks people are putting through obstacles. Love that shit. I just know it's expensive. And I have better things to spend my money on. Unfortunately, I would love to do that. Or like now, everybody's posting videos and snippets of their little RC snowmobiles. And tell you what, fellas, I love snowmobiling. Love it. I miss snowmobiling so bad, but I miss it for about a week, and then I'm done dealing with the fucking snow. Because I love snow, but I love it for like 3 weeks tops, and then I'm done with it. I love snowmobiling. I miss my snowmobiles, but I I much rather live down here in Tennessee. Looking to buy a 6.5 Detroit, wondering if one with 200,000 miles has some blow by is bad. Depends on how much blow by. The wife's dually there has a little bit of blow by, and that thing has 240 something thousand miles on it now. And it runs like a champ every day. My wife drives that friggin' thing all over hell and creation. The extended cab 2500 out there, it's got some blow by. It's all right. A little bit of blow by is not bad. If it's like you undo the cap and you put it upside down and it blows the cap like up towards the fucking hood, that's bad. That's a weak engine, but a little bit of blow by, normal. So a little bit of knock. Jackson, what do you think it could be? Injectors? A little knock to it. Does it get louder or does it seem to go away when it's under certain running conditions? It could be injector knock, or otherwise known as fuel knock. It could be insufficient detonation. It could also be rod bearings or worn out. Does it run rough at all? I would run before determining whether it's injectors or rod knock. I would run some injector cleaner through it, just make sure that's okay. Just kind of stays there, but runs good. Yeah. Any smoke at all coming out of the tailpipe? Run some injector cleaner through it. No smoke. So no smoke. Could be early signs of rod knock. Yeah, could be early signs of raw dog. I'm curious, what is everyone's thoughts on a Prius or electric vehicle? To me, ran them over every time I see one. Electric vehicles. Let's get on this topic. This is a testy subject. I'm gonna get comfortable. Give me just a sec here. Swing the boys loose. Okay. Since we're going on 3 hours here. Electric vehicles. My personal opinion. Every vehicle has its place. Do I think that they will outdo diesel engines? No. I say that with 100% confidence. I don't think diesel's going away at all. And I don't think gasoline is going away at all. I think there is a massive push for a dramatic change in this country and this world that is not doing anything but causing humongous issues and gouging prices and putting people in very difficult spots, being able to afford food or other basic necessities. And electric vehicles, they use diesel engines to mine the materials in order to make the batteries and the charging systems for these electric vehicles. More diesel is burnt just trying to make these electric vehicles, mining their raw materials, right? Diesel's not going to go away. And electric vehicles have their place, by all means. But the government expecting everybody to just own electric vehicles. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not taking out a loan or making payments on any vehicle that I ever own, much less a vehicle that I don't want. And for somebody to tell me that I have to do something is ridiculous. I'm gonna read this comment real quick. Dan says, I think the change in this country needs to be the important of the small displacement diesel. Look at the diesels they get for passenger cars and light duty trucks around the world. I agree. So diesels in cars. Let's just talk about cars. My mom used to have a Volkswagen Jetta that would get about 40 miles to the gallon. Granted, it was an older Jetta, but 40 miles to the fucking gallon, right? Like new or early 2000s gasoline vehicles getting 20 and stuff like that. Like the diesel is much cleaner and much better than gasoline alone, in my opinion. Electric vehicles, and you can see the memes too. Like, it's pretty comical. Using a gasoline generator to charge up your electric vehicle, kind of defeating the purpose. Not to mention, in some small towns, like, the infrastructure to maintain these electric cars is not there. Like, yeah, you can plug up your electric car to your fucking house and let it charge or like whatever. But in some small towns, like, say you have a Tesla, and nothing against Tesla, but you have, like, it can only be repaired at certified Tesla dealers. Like, some small towns you go to, it's about a 4-hour drive. Like, and from what I've heard and understand, listening to customer service calls and stuff like that about Tesla, I don't see it. I don't see electric vehicles taking over the world as much as petrol or gasoline or diesel. Especially diesel. Diesel's not fucking going anywhere. Is my statement. I'm For the next 20 years, I don't see diesel going anywhere. You need big trucks and big fucking equipment to move heavy shit. All of it runs on diesel. I don't see it going anywhere. As a matter of fact, I wish more cars would adopt diesel, but that's just me. What is my recommended brand of injector cleaner? Hot Shot Secret is the only stuff I use. I use their injector cleaner. I use their everyday treatment. They're the only ones I use personally, but it's just called Hot Shots Secret. You can find it at O'Reilly's or Rural King or anything like that. But yeah, I don't see diesel going anywhere. It amazes me that diesel costs more than gasoline when diesel is a byproduct of making gasoline. But that's just my 2 cents. What brand of trucks are best, worst? They're all crap. So this is more or less like a personal tier list. But if we're talking just like the 3/4 and 1 ton diesel pickups, I like Chevy or General Motors, and then probably Ford, and then Dodge, and then the rest of them don't really matter to me. And that's not just me being like, oh, fucking America. Well, everything's made overseas anyways. Like, yeah. I just like the looks. Like if I had to go based on looks, like GMC fucking Denali, 3/4 ton, Chevy Silverado 3/4 ton, Ford Super Duty, and then Dodge 3/4 1 ton. That's just my personal preference. What do you think about Howe's diesel treatment? I've never personally used it. They just had a load on a couple tractor trailers just under 1 million pounds. Show me electric trucks that'll pull that. Yeah, I saw the Tesla big rigs, and here's the thing. I like Tesla. I think any innovation is great. The thing I don't like is if you're going to change a society to like something, you do it as a progression. You don't have something that's worked for fucking ever and then just say, no, we want this, so everybody's gotta fucking do this. No, you keep the thing that works in place, and then you bring this one up until this one is no longer needed. I think innovation is great. That's how we've got to this point in human society. But don't take away fucking like firewood and dinosaur juice if this one isn't like vastly taking over this one's like demand. Like, I think there needs to be more innovation in nuclear power, but that's my opinion. I don't like Fords, but I owned a 6.0 Power Stroke. Ford does their grease, then rest of my opinion. I don't like the 6.0 Power Stroke. I think they sound good. I don't like the 6.4 Power Stroke. The 6.7 and the 7.3 I like. The 7.3 IDI I like even more. And the 6.9 just because IDI. But yeah, everybody's got their taste, man. Like personally, I'm just not a big Dodge guy. Like the 5th gen, whoop-de-doo, in my opinion. But I think the interiors are really nice. But I just don't like the looks of the outsides of them. Like 4th gen and 3rd gens. Like I don't like. I'll take a 2nd gen over a 3rd gen, 4th gen. I'd probably take a 5th gen over a 2nd gen. But that's just because creature comforts and interiors and shit. I gotta go, man. Thanks for all the things I learned from you later. Later, dude. I appreciate you sticking around for the long haul. Going to bed. Thank you. Good night, fellas. Have a good night, bud. I think I'm gonna close this off here. It's been almost 3.5 hours. I think I'm gonna tone it down quite a bit. It's time for bed. But do you like electronically injection pumps 6.5s or mechanical 6.5s? I like both. I've just worked on electronic 6.5s more than mechanical. So that's just my preference, just because I worked on them more. Nothing wrong with the mechanical. Probably more reliable, other than the weak DB2 injection pumps, especially if they've been on there for a while. And the problem with them is the lubricating qualities. Throw a lubricating additive in there, and with the mechanical injection pumps, you should be fine. Diesel isn't as lubricating as it used to be. So if you're gonna get a mechanical injection pump truck, just throw a little diesel additive in there, help lubricate it, keep it healthy. But with that, I think I'm going to leave this live stream where it stands. Definitely a lot of great conversation, a lot of good questions. I appreciate you guys sticking around for almost 3.5 hours. Run off road diesel till you get caught. Damn right. Fucking they won't know what's hurting them. Or what you could do is run a fuel cell in the bed of your truck, and then every time you're low on fuel, you just add up. And the only time you fuel up is when the fuel cell is empty, and just stay under the radar. Nobody's gonna fucking know, and that way you don't pay taxes on diesel. So, alrighty, fellas. Well, thank you for great conversation. It was great talking to y'all. New video will be up tomorrow. I'll catch you legends in the next one.